welcome to the Wrestling Fan of Wrestling Show. I'm the big beefy boy, Shaz Beef, and today I'm joined by Johnny the Beast Morton.
One mark.
The only uno
the
mark.
sickest mark in town.
It's Beef B Mortos today. We've never done one, just me and you.
Have we not?
No, I don't think so. It's the first time.
You want to catch a fucking cold off me now as well?
Oh, no.
Doesn't make it worse.
You sick?
I'm pretty sick, yeah.
You want a hug?
Yeah, go on. I just wanted to vocalise there.
Yeah.
Just for anyone who's just listening.
We were actually saying, giving each other spots as we went in like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, switch, reverse, elbow up.
We've been rehearsing that for weeks.
Yeah, we're here to talk about AEW Full Gear. This is a review show. People purportedly say that I hate AEW.
I've heard it said.
Yeah, which is a lie. I don't hate AEW.
It's going around the town.
I want to see it succeed. But I think after Full Gear, I don't know if...
It won you over, did you? Yeah, you had a great time?
I had a time anyway. A long time watching it.
Yeah, good 6 hour time.
Let's get into before the show even starts.
Yeah.
Because you have
0 hour.
Costco guy and the Rizzler.
Big Boom AJ and his son, Big Justice. I'm really fucking stretching my knowledge of American TikTok pop culture.
Yeah, well, like what I like about it is he was a wrestler.
He was a wrestler 20 years ago on the New Jersey independent scene. And obviously him and his kid have a big following. I don't know what the crossover there is with the Rizzler. I don't know if the Rizzler exists in his own universe or how he relates to them. Is he a guest on the show?
Not his kid.
No, Rizzler,
that's a different person altogether.
As far as I'm aware, it's not his kid. He's got one kid who did that spot where he speared the fuck out of QT Marshall.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I seen them on like Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon did not want to talk to them at all.
They say boom so much, like.
Here comes
it's
the
just
boom.
Really hard. If you were in a fucking pub with them, well, you wouldn't be with the kids. He wouldn't be allowed in.
After 9
Even just
o'clock.
one adult man who keeps saying boom after every point.
And QT,
every swig.
And QT Marshall.
Yeah.
He's not the most engaging character.
They took him out of cold storage for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, he was going to bring the doom.
Bring the doom, which is a bit of a lazy connection. They shot a good angle to set it up, I thought. Yeah. QT congratulating Big Boom AJ on getting to wrestle at Full Gear at fucking 0 hour, and AJ thought the two of them were tagging up.
Yeah.
And QT ripped up the contract or whatever, fucked it in his face and told him that he was against him. So, good contract signing with an oblivious guy set up.
What was the match like?
Basic as shit. But
Yeah.
there was some fun spots. Like, didn't overstay its welcome. The Rizzler... here's a fucking sentence I never thought I'd be saying in 2024. But Big Show held hands with the Rizzler as they walked down the aisle.
Did he do?
And they had a little double act.
Do something like
Rizzler's got something like this. He kind of rubs his face.
Okay.
He looks like MJF before he was bullied.
And then you're like, that's why he should have been bullied.
I don't know. Like, he doesn't seem like the most bullyable child. He's got a lot of charm, like, you know. Yeah. But I think that's just the thing. He kind of does a kind of
has a bit of a Hezbollah kind of charm.
Well, Hezbollah's a grown man.
Yeah. It's Rizzler, he's just
I'm actually not entirely sure. He could be like an 8-year-old boy, but could also be a 31-year-old man.
Won't make a difference to Mike Tyson anyway.
Either way, he doesn't stack up well with fucking Big Show.
But that was the first thing on the card. That's what most people talking
there was a couple of preliminary matches. It was like the main event of 0 hour, basically.
Right. But yeah, I didn't really follow 0 hour. That wasn't the biggest thing to me. I thought it was cool that it was getting a lot of traction for AEW in terms of like crossovers with celebrities or whatever you think TikTok stars are. It was probably one of the better ones considering that he had a previous wrestling experience.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like they'd rehearsed it very well, you know, and his punches were tidy.
Nice.
He broke his foot, though.
Did he?
Apparently so, yeah. Broke his foot in the match.
With punches.
Doing the punches, I don't know, like, QT Marshall did a big kind of high spot into his security team, which was fun. But, you know, your man Big Boom AJ, he wasn't doing many high spots. He wasn't flying around too much.
Is this the type of kind of crossover stuff that AEW need? When you look at, say, WWE's crossover things with like Logan Paul and, you know, even KSI was there. They're massive names where maybe Costco guy he's never come across on my feed, but like does this kind of seem like a cheaper alternative to that?
I don't know, but like, you know, that's like saying like a WWE always got really good stars
No,
and
they
integrated them
haven't.
really
They
well.
haven't.
There's some fucking nightmare ones, like, you know, in the past.
Yeah.
They've been doing it well recently, particularly because there's like a lot of celebrities who are actually really proficient at wrestling.
Yeah, like Vanessa Hudson was in the crowd there
she
recently
wrestles?
on Raw. No, but she was there on Raw.
She wouldn't get in the ring, man.
No.
Vanessa Hudgens.
But,
You're here first, everyone.
But like that's what I mean. I know WWE don't do it as much now, and their celebrity crossovers are quite big. Like you look at Bad Bunny. He's one of the most streamed artists on Spotify. They're the celebrities that they're getting, whereas AEW have a TikTok guy.
If you like father and son combos who review food and say boom really loudly quite a lot,
AEW's the
then
place to be.
that's the juice for you right there.
We'll get into the pay-per-view then. So the pay-per-view starts off with Private Party entrance, really.
Yeah.
It is a 4-way...
All the other teams came out on the pre-show?
On the pre-show,
See
yeah.
some more dissension with the Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed are... But that's because to do with the Hurt Business, apparently.
Syndicate change.
Hurt
They
Syndicate.
only get sued by WWE.
The Outrunners, House of Black, who I think are just wasted. And then, as you said, or as I said, Private Party. This match confused the hell out of me.
It's just because they're just spam booking the tag team division for whatever fucking reason. The tag team division has been so poor there this year. It really has been in terms of...
Is that because of the Young Bucks, do you think?
Yeah, because that storyline didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's all so loose and... Like, again, it's just another case of, like, what seems to be a really big, all-encompassing AEW epic storyline just kind of fizzles into nothing.
Yeah. Because, like, you start off the year with Ricky Starks and Big Bill as tag champions. It goes to Sting and Darby.
It goes to
and
Sting
then it goes to the
Darby.
Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks have a bit of a rainwade.
Yeah.
And then, now we're at Private Party.
No major, like, no storylines that really... you know, had any impact. And the Private Party thing, they built it for about a month, in fairness. It wasn't the worst, but it just, that in and of itself is actually grand. It's like, what was the point in terms of the whole overall Elite story?
Yeah. Well, is that still, so when you look at the Deathriders storyline, they're going after Private Party, and Private Party now have been forced to step up, and now they've taken away from the Elite. If this whole cartel kind of businessman storyline, is that kind of interwoven storytelling?
No, it's not. I just feel like if AEW wanted to get a little bit of cohesiveness, like the storyline they should have been telling there, in my opinion, straight off the bat, because that Moxley Deathriders storyline has, like, it started with such impact. And I think the whole idea behind it was that what was suggested was that it was going to impact the entire company, and we're just not really seeing an awful lot of that into pay-per-view. There's elements of it, but I would have thought straight off the bat for Private Party, you put them against fucking Claudio and Wheeler, and like let the Deathriders' MO seems to be going after belts and taking control of the company. It's really hard for them to justify like Moxley's ideology if they're not actually holding a load of belts and hunting them down.
Yeah,
you know.
And going, this is what the standard bearer of AEW should be.
Exactly. And I wouldn't mind then if, like, they didn't want to do that right now. There's a better storyline for Private Party. But they just rammed 3 teams in there.
Yeah, and, like, the House of Black...
And you could have just told one story there and enhanced both teams.
You could have done just the Outrunner story.
There's just too much spam fucking booking. Like, there was a 4-way before the pay-per-view as well, which is a load of lads rammed in. And I was like... That could have just been Buddy Murphy against Beast Mortos. That's a good showcase match for the two of them. And like, I'd be excited by that rather than like a randomly fucked together 4-way.
Like,
and this had that vibe, you know.
But Buddy Murphy and the House of Black in whole, that's probably my biggest sticking point with AEW, because I think Malachi Black or Alistair Black or Tommy End, whatever he goes by.
Malachi Black.
Yeah. But I think, you know, it seemed like something was going to happen when he was up against Edge, because he was kind of taken as a big threat, and then just
no follow through once again.
Brody King Continental Classic last year,
he's in it again this year.
Yeah, but like, is that whole year of Brody King then been wasted?
Yeah, like they're kind of keeping Brody simmering, which is fair enough. He's part of a faction. He's never in his career really been a breakout single star, even in Ring of Honor.
But like, even when he was got up against Darby. And when they had those great matches.
They've had a great program, and he's got matches. You know, he is like very much in them. Like
he was up against Darby in the last pay-per-view.
They've kept him bubbling in the same way, like, and I think this is a useful equivalent for him. But even like how Brody Lee, Luke Harper was kept bubbling in the Wyatt family, even though he's like notionally the second guy, and all 3 members of House of Black and Julia Hart have kept themselves bubbling as single stars, but like they're not in any of the major programs. Like the one with Adam Copeland and Black was the most prominent black spin in quite a while, and
since probably Cody.
I don't know what their fucking mission statement is. What's their mission statement now? Spooky fucking promos?
Yeah,
like at this stage, you gotta evolve it into something.
It's like when the way it started. You know, that was a good equivalency. When the way it started, you're like, this is really cool. But by WrestleMania against John Cena, they're like, they're not really a threat because they've already, they lost to Daniel Bryan and.
Yeah, they start leaning into spooky for spooky's sake.
Yeah,
you go, no, like there needs to be a psychological plan here. Like, what is their plan?
But the match in itself, like. I remember just watching it and then seeing a tag and was like, did he just tag? And then there was another tag. I was like, oh, this is a tag match. Because everyone was just running amok.
I thought it was a mess, yeah.
And then you had the Acclaim spot where like, you pin me.
Yeah.
And that would have worked well if you were kind of using the actual tag rules during the match. Because everyone was just getting in at any point.
It's fun to watch to a degree, but you're just going like... Just tell a story with 2 teams here for a while. Give Private Party as tag team champions room to breathe a little bit. Plug them into a storyline with another team. Like,
do they have anyone to step up? Like, would the Outrunners have been a good like first team to kind of?
As I said, I think Wheeler and Claudio, who were doing fucking nothing else on that pay-per-view bar interfering, like that would have made more sense, and it would have made the main event storyline just bleed into the card a little bit more and just feel a bit more cohesive. And cohesiveness is just a thing that they've really been lacking, and it comes out in a lot of the other kind of matches now.
I even think the placement of the match, I don't think it was a perfect one to start with.
I would have just loved to have seen a hot fucking tag team match to start the show.
I probably would have started with maybe the next match, which is MJF and Roderick Strong.
Yeah, that would have been a good opener.
What was... Because I'm not really following Dynamite anymore.
Oh, really, Shane?
Yeah, I'm not really following Dynamite anymore. So, like, I know that Adam Cole, baby, had to go through, like, the labours of Jericho.
Yeah,
MJF gets to call all this stuff all the time going, I'll only wrestle you if you do this and you do that.
Yeah, I like that as a gimmick because I feel like it's kind of... It's unique and it also... builds a couple of weeks of storylines.
It was cool when they did it with Cody and they did I
thought the Labours of Jericho was fantastic.
Yeah, because you got to see Hoovy and
Mick fucking Gage.
Yeah, you got to see all that cool stuff. But like, who's calling the shots? Is it just MJF calling the shots and Tony Khan isn't?
Yeah.
Like, could Tony Khan realistically not be like, Adam Cole and...
It's like they're trying to... Okay, so this is what it feels like to me. Like, they ran what started off as a storyline that was supposed to be short term that exploded, which was Adam Cole and MJF last year, like Better Than You, Baby, that whole thing. And then before they got to finish it, it lost its steam in such a bad way.
The devil.
It got clusterfucked. Cole got injured. The whole thing just got bent out of shape. Now they're going back to it. And I think they're trying to just finish it with a big swing and try and like redeem it. Like fucking Goldberg and Lesnar at WrestleMania all those years later. It's got a little bit of that. We're going, no, look. But this a year-on-year storyline that's been building, maybe they're trying to make it seem like they have a plan. And I don't have a fucking clue what it is because...
now they're dragging in Kyle O'Reilly into it. The conglomeration needs Kyle O'Reilly.
I like that Kyle's in it because it adds a little bit of fucking flavour. It's something different. Kyle is good. He makes sense in this context. I think they're doing a decent job of it, but like... Cole isn't working as a face.
Oh, he is and it the least sympathetic man.
It needs a lot more shades of grey in it, I think. I think they need to kind of lean into that type of storytelling because, say WWE right now, like heel turns and face turns feel so earned.
Yeah.
And they're so logical, and...
Well, like MJF's heel turn in itself, beating up Daniel Garcia, that was earned.
That's what used to be, like, they used to be a lot better at that AEW, whereas now, like, don't expect Adam Cole of all people to fucking... That's why he was turning heel last year. Like...
But what's the story? Is it they're turning heel on MJF because he was such a bastard?
It's kind of like, who's the worst bastard? Yeah. Like, it's Battle of the Bastards, kind of. And it started poorly because Cole just can't translate his heel act into his babyface act for whatever fucking reason. That man has got a blockage there.
And Cole has no henchmen behind him. You know what I mean? He's the kingdom behind him, whereas MJF is on his own.
He seems to be... It's like, it is that old fucking... That thing. It's like, play your face character as your heel character. Like,
I would have liked to see
it's subtle modifications. Like the guys who were the best in the fucking industry were well able to do it. The Steve Austins, the Rocks.
I think MJF would have been great still as
MJF makes it work as well because I think he's just got a good story brain and he's got a good character development brain. So he has. I think he's got a better bag of tricks for doing that stuff than Cole does.
But he can still use his bag of tricks as a face. I don't necessarily think they needed to turn him. I know the Daniel Garcia angle is what they wanted to run with.
Will Ospreay ended up being the one for whatever reason. But maybe it was because it didn't feel like MJF was flatlining as a face, but maybe he was.
I don't think so at all. I think it would have been better because he had returned as the face to take out Adam Cole. Adam Cole didn't come down.
Adam Cole's also got a gang of guys, and MJF's got fucking no one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he has people backing him up, and now has Kyle O'Reilly in with him. Where's Wardlow?
Where is he?
Where's Wardlow in all this? He's someone who's integral to MJF's story.
He's out injured. I was thinking of where's Wardlow. I was like, that's a good picture book right there. Like, get him in there.
MJF did some cool things in it though. Like, you know, when he unbuckled the thing on the ring, on the ropes, and like put Roderick Strong's fingers in it, and like he was doing some really inventive, cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good match that sets up the inevitable, I think, World's End culmination of the story. MJF, Adam Cole.
A year later,
like a year after Samoa Joe swooped in and saved this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what they're building towards. I'll give them a chance, you know. Like I think they do. Did they want to make good on the storyline? Because it did have a lot of heat for a while and people were into it. It fucking main evented all in. You know?
Yeah.
We went to Wembley to see that main event. You know what I mean?
We were there live for it.
They were telling a good story. And
yeah, I think the whole sports entertainment angle of it with the devil and just the bad reveal, because it was... You were like, it is Adam Cole.
And he broke his foot just hopping down on
why didn't you just change it to someone else?
Yeah, I mean that he could have been transplanted onto Roddy,
or just like heat up the Kingdom, because you have a tag team there.
Just put someone else behind the mask, lads. This guy isn't going to be able to wrestle for another fucking 8 months.
Yeah, but like you could do what they did with Punk. Punk was.
I honestly thought that would have been a good spot for Kyle to reemerge after his injury, but he just came in kind of cold.
Yeah, but like Punk wasn't able to wrestle for 8 months, and they kept that simmering. They
could have done it with Punk if he hadn't been fired.
No, but what I'm saying is he was able in WWE. Like he got injured at the Royal Rumble. Still feuded with Drew McIntyre up until he was ready to go. So why couldn't they have done that with Adam Cole and MJF? Because Adam Cole has a team of people that MJF could have run through.
Exactly.
If you like doing your labor stuff, MJF has to run through them at every pay-per-view.
I mean, it's good to like take a month off from a storyline sometimes and wait for like WWE are great at that right now. They know how to pace everything. You could have done that and kept this feud somewhat hot, but I think they were just like neither of those guys was around, so they were really like stuck for it.
Yeah,
MJF is not filming a lot.
But when MJF is gone, you have the Kingdom. Why don't the Kingdom run riot with Adam Cole in the background, not getting hit, not getting touched, like Brett when he was in a wheelchair?
Yeah, no, they completely flatlined, like completely. I mean, you wouldn't have been running it every week, but I think if you paced it out a little bit more, we'd have like they just pivoted to stuff like MJF, Ospreay. They let the Undisputed Kingdom. They did fuck all year.
Why that? And
you could have done loads with
people. Wonder why I have a problem with AEW.
I think that's just AEW again. It's like they're just not keeping people hot enough. It's just everyone is recycled too much in a way that like really cools them down.
Yeah,
it doesn't keep the character simmering.
It's beggars belief. Like you have a tag team in the Kingdom. Like they could have won a tag team title.
It's not like the tag team division was epic all year. Like, they should make a run to the Young Bucks.
I know.
Tell a story between those two factions.
Yeah,
they have so many fucking interlinking relationships there.
It just boggles the mind, man. And then you have Kyle O'Reilly coming out at the end, MJF running off, and you're just like, oh, you let this happen, and you're like, oh, I don't really care.
Again,
man.
It's cohesiveness. It's just, but like, it's going. Here's a big faction who need a story, and then you got the Young Bucks who needed a story, but instead they just turned heels, did the Elite takeover storyline, and then just kind of did fuck all for the last couple of months.
Yeah, like Jack Perry's still in the Elite, right?
Yeah, and Okada as well, but they just haven't been used. And there's no explanation. It's like, this was supposed to be the big heel faction of the year, big kind of corporate takeover storyline, And now they all have belts.
After the Kingdom was meant to be a big faction.
And it's like, well, is there a bit now Civil War storyline we can do here over the summer? Like
the BCC was still going at the time. They became the Deathriders. Where's the conglomeration?
The conglomeration again is just like it's just like so many good wrestlers, and they're like the backstage stuff is kind of funny, but you're going, even the name itself, conglomeration. This is just slapped together, lads.
I know that's Mark Briscoe like taking the piss kind of thing, but like if you don't see any point in what I'm saying, well then not you, like people out there, Alan, if you don't see any point in what I'm saying, like maybe you have the blinkers on as well, as much as you think I have the blinkers on about WWE, because I didn't enjoy Crown Jewel.
I like to think I'm objective, and I like everything.
Yeah,
I do though. I like everything. Like I like as a fan. We've lived. I can't even stress how much shit we've lived through. The fact that there's two big mainstream US companies putting on brilliant wrestling television every week.
There's stuff I really liked on this card, and there's stuff that I really like that they do. I remember the November Rain promo video.
Real good.
Was class. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, look at all the stories that they have going. It's and they didn't use November Rain on the pay-per-view, did they?
No, like they should have just blasted that after Daniel Garcia won it. It's like fucking create moments here.
Get the solo going.
Get everyone singing.
Yeah.
Get the fucking lighters out, lads.
Oh. Then we go into Mercedes Moné and Stat.
Yeah.
Great match.
I just thought it was fantastic. And like, I didn't have great anticipation for it, and that's only because like I just think Statlander's real cold. She's never really taken off personality-wise. She's really solid in the ring.
And she's just after coming off a heel turn, after just coming off a face turn.
That's the thing. She's flip-flopping too much to really kind of have an investment in her. But they built the fuck out with this storyline. Like, they were bringing in vehicles and people getting smashed through walls. Like
Camille, I thought was pretty cool.
They're doing stuff with Camille, which is really interesting. So, like, I was sufficiently intrigued. And then I just thought the match delivered in spades.
It was the best that I've seen Monet look in a long time.
Just fantastic.
Because, like,
it was like the complete opposite of what Britt Baker and Mercedes was. It was just like these two, like the chemistry. And it was a first time match. Like, as I said, they worked hard in the build. I wasn't mad hot on it because, you know, again, Statlander is just...
It just seemed to turn Stat to have an opponent for Monet.
Yeah. And it definitely didn't feel like Statlander was going to win it or anything. But match definitely over-delivered.
I think that was a problem, bar maybe one result throughout the whole pay-per-view, is that there doesn't seem... Like, you seem to be able to predict the winner because from a story beat purpose, you're like, that makes the most sense.
Sometimes, but not always.
Like, Private Party was always going to win. MJF was always going to win. Mercedes Moné was always going to win.
Yes, I think I would agree with all those.
Yeah. And bar one, I think, on this, I wouldn't have predicted.
Maybe, yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if they went the other way, you're like, why would they do that? That's so stupid.
I think it is a thing. I think that kind of... I think everybody could see that in the booking, that you weren't looking at that booking, with the exception of Daniel Garcia. You weren't looking at that booking going, there's going to be like big title changes here. And that they kind of contribute to a feeling of this being a bit of a placeholder pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, it was. That being said, like, solid matches... For the most part,
yeah. I
wasn't
think
any out and out duds. Like,
we'll get to that. I think the first match was an absolute dud anyway, but we've already got to that. Monet is the best I've seen her finisher look.
Yeah,
it looked good on Stat.
Those two just had fantastic chemistry. And like at this stage, I do hope they find a way to keep that going. Not maybe necessarily this rivalry, but come back to it as a trilogy or something, because like. It's rare to see two people have that kind of chemistry. Particularly, like, the women's division has unfortunately not benefited from that of late. So, like, to see that in the ring was really, really...
Tony Khan was talking about it afterwards, saying it's the longest women's match in AEW history. It clocked in at over 20 minutes. Now, I think people who had the stopwatches out were like, it's under 20 minutes, but it doesn't matter. But, like, when you have a star like Monet, it kind of has to go. She's probably calling her shots there. She wants a 20-minute match. They probably both do. They just want to let fly, and they structured such a great match. Yeah, like hitting the bank statement, or I don't know what it's called now, and then the false finishes and
great false finishes, and it just looked like they were trucking each other, and they played into the size difference so well. Like, the whole thing was it was brilliant. I think one of the best women's division matches this year.
Yeah. Do you think the TBS title has more credence now than the women's title?
Yeah. We'll probably get to that as well.
But that's just because of the nature of who's holding it.
It's
also,
like you got the biggest star, and then you've got, it feels like it should be the other way around in some ways.
I love the way...
that wouldn't be a problem. I just think Mariah's reign so far has been mad patchy.
I love the way the CEO song is just like Walter's old song.
Yeah, they'll do a team up someday, and we're all going to be having a great time.
Yeah. The next match is Jay White and Hangman Adam Page. Now, the first time I want to mention it, because it came up a lot in my thinking while watching it, is the presentation of each of those guys. The fire on the trunks of Hangman Adam Page looks like it's from the Attitude game where you used to create a wrestler back in 1999. It is absolutely atrocious. I've talked about Hangman Adam Page, just the need to simplify it, go Magnum TA with it. I get it. You set his house on fire. You don't need fire on your trunks.
What do you mean by going Magnum TA with it?
Just basic trunk, like he used to have.
I feel like he's rocking a kind of... This is his like Johnny Cash Man in Black era.
He doesn't...
And I think the flames as a symbol of... it's a well-used motif.
It looks like he's doing
Western, like.
It looks like he's doing a residency in Vegas, and he's singing Elvis show tunes.
No fucking harm. He literally sets men's houses on fire.
Yeah, but
their childhood homes.
Do you remember when Kane had that whole fire stuff, and his gear was just red and black, right? It's basic. If he had later Kane when he had the flames up his legs, that just looked bad. The only lad who ever pulled it off was Bam Bam.
You went to Guy Fieri?
No.
He wears a lot of flame shirts.
Yeah, see, the guy, he's the
cook, the chef guy. Yeah.
Exactly, point proven. There you have it.
You're not into him,
Guy Fieri. No, I just think if you just basic it down, just make it all black. You know what I mean?
But this is black, but just with flames.
Yeah, but it doesn't need the flames.
No, I think the flames kind of add to it.
Getting back, I think it looks terrible.
The man's mind is an inferno. He's raging.
Yeah, but his pants don't need to be raging.
They are a demonstration of what's going on inside.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need to wear it. Come on, just throw him in a pair of trunks like the old Hangman. He looked badass.
Yeah, but he's not the old Hangman now. He's a different Hangman. He's a broken, angry.
No, he's not. He's a hangman that's like, oh yeah,
nearly evil hangman.
I want to look cool. I want the flames on my trunks. You don't look cool. You look the opposite.
I think he's got a Magnum TA thing going on, and I think he's kind of tailored it to his own gimmick. And he's still obviously a Western themed character, hence the flames on the pants.
And he goes up against Jay.
Yeah.
Jay's gear used to be class. The boxer kind of robe that he's coming out in though, and like the grey trunks and stuff. Go back to the white and red. He's got
a real Splinter vibe off him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if that lad got mutated with a rat now, it'd be kind of perfect. Like,
oh yeah, and he's going up against Shredder, who is Kevin Nash.
I think but Bullet Club Gold are very turtle coated. Bullet Club Gold or the Bang Bang Gang are very turtle coated. Okay. You know what I mean?
Who's Donatello?
Austin Gunn.
Yeah, okay. But they're just, I think they're two kind of big hopes for AEW, big stars. And Jay White, talking about he's cooled off, he's gone back on. The most consistent of them all, I think, mainly in AEW, has probably been Hangman Adam Page over the past few months.
Yeah, it feels like they've kind of just jammed these two guys together. They have tried to build the storyline based on their past. They've used a lot of Ring of Honor footage. Like, if it's placeholder for the two of them, it's good. Like,
I don't think Hangman suffers from a loss either, because if he
he's getting whooped by him, which I think is
if he loses though, you're like, oh, he's spiraling.
Yeah, and that's why he's actually a very useful guy to lose, and he hasn't lost a lot from his losses. Like, he's still carrying the weight of that victory over Swerve.
Yeah,
and I think that's going to keep him going. And Hangman rebounds very easily.
Yeah. And Jay White, I think, definitely needed it. I really like the story that they told in their last match. You know, the whole counter thing. They were both selling their leg, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, I didn't know who was going to win this, which I think is a nice way to be, because White's beating him decisively. But it seemed like a way where it was keeping two characters hot, but they're working hard. That was a good match.
Do you have any hope for Jay White?
I have lots of hope for Jay White. Yeah. I think he just needs a storyline that's going to really send him on to the next level. He also really just needs to figure out what his role is in the company, they just need to position him in a role.
I
feel as a face, Ospreay's kind of taken his role there. It's so crowded on either side, but I do overall feel like, like he's a fantastic heel.
Is there too much talent in AEW? Like, that's the way I feel.
I don't think there is. I just think that he's better, more cohesive, just focused fucking booking. Like loads of lads should be coming for mid-card titles. They've enough. It's not like
they have 3 mid-card titles.
Like, tell stories with that. Like, lads want to be building up the amount of titles they have. They want to be rocking through belts.
But should there, like, I know people hate when I bring it up, but like the brand split just makes so much sense. Make Jay White the star of Collision, just like you were going to do with Punk.
Like, it kind of is a soft brand split, though, isn't it? Like, Collision kind of is that, but it needs to feel a bit more important.
Make it official, like, because
I just love to see Ring of Honor just phased out of it and just be its own thing.
Yeah, I think that will naturally happen. There was no Ring of Honor titles.
A long time now.
There's no Ring of Honor titles defended on the card like there used to be.
No, but I think main event like Dynamite tomorrow night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
good match. I hope Jay White gets a sustained push from it. Obviously, he shows back up. There's going to be stories interwoven with Christian, and it seems the Deathriders now, and obviously Hangman always has Swerve on the back of his mind.
Yeah, I mean, at the end they did suggest that they are trying to tie a couple of things together, which is what they sorely need.
Oh, like I was only talking to someone there recently about when I went back to wrestling in 2015. It was because of Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens came into NXT, Juice Robinson, that was his first match, CJ Parker.
Yeah.
Cracked his nose.
In that one,
and then he went up against Sammy, powerbombed Sammy, and he just started milling through stuff in NXT. And then when he showed up on the main roster, he started feuding with John Cena. And those matches just made me fall in love with Kevin Owens and wrestling again.
It was such a rarity in that era to see a guy come with his reputation that he had on the independents to come into WWE, particularly with a look that most people would have thought was prohibitive.
Yeah.
Wrestles in t-shirts. He's going to do a Vince McMahon company, and he shot through like a bullet.
Yeah, and going up against John Cena, putting on banger matches, but he had 5 feuds on the go when he was fighting John Cena.
Yeah.
So he had John Cena in NXT. Then he had possibly Hideo Itami. Didn't he attack him backstage or something in a car park?
The notorious NXT car park.
Yeah.
Where anyone could get jumped at any time.
And nothing ever done about it. Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, and Alex Riley.
Yeah.
He had a feud with a commentator, Alex Riley. And you would think that wrestling should be such a volatile place that all these stories would intertwine. So it was nice to see Jay White and Hangman, and then they have the whole Christian stuff, and you can start folding in the Bang Bang Club or whatever they're called.
Darby's in the mix.
Like, that's what you need, man.
It's not enough to do with just in like a couple of your top storylines. You need to be doing it in every division.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing, like, it's weird. It's just like WWE are excelling right now at the things that AEW used to do so well.
Yeah.
That WWE never did for 20 years. But like spending lots of time backstage with characters, seeing how they interact with each other.
And like seeing other characters backstage when that's going on.
Or seeing characters meet for the first time. Not everything needs to be a big promo in the ring. Like, you can shoot vignettes, you can shoot backstage stuff where you see people interacting. For the first time, making introductions, seeing how people spark off each other for the first time.
And I think that needs to be done, like human interactions as opposed to big set pieces, which AEW are trying to do now. And we'll see that bit later on as well. I know I spoke about having a volatile workplace, but like some of the stuff that seems to be going on and some of the stuff that previously went on with like flamethrowers, and you're just like, I don't know if we need this.
Yeah, I just feel like, again, we've got another version of a kind of takeover storyline just after the Elites one. The Elites one didn't even finish.
Yeah.
Now we're doing another one. And like, okay, how company-wide do these things go, lads, But Moxley tells the entire roster, you work for me now. So, not that it needs to be in every match, but like, man, you could give an hour of your show to that storyline, or you probably should every
like when NWO took over. Whether right or wrong,
like that, but better structured, and definitely. But I don't know if they'll do that. Again, it just needs to be thought through. Like, that's why I wondered about. They've got this mission statement, but then none of the wrestlers apart from Moxley are going for titles. I would have loved to seen.
Well, like, don't they have the trio titles?
Oh, they got the trio titles, but they're not defending them.
Yeah,
like no one's like even that is gone. It's like why aren't they on the
House of Black would be a perfect opponent for him.
Would have been great. Like.
like, would Moxley have a problem with, say, Malachi Black? He seems to have this problem with, like, people who are AEW young guns.
Yeah. Or just
who've
people
been around for a long time.
People who've been there for 5 years who haven't achieved their potential, apparently.
Beat the shit out of Action Andretti.
Action Andretti's only been in there for about 2 years.
Yeah, like, I want to see him get slapped around the place.
Man, yeah, he's a good heel waiting to happen, I think. He's a terrible face.
The next match, though, is probably... It's the best match on the card. It is Ospreay and it is Kyle Fletcher. And I talked about presentation. The presentation of Ospreay, that man gets it. That man knows how to present himself in wrestling. Yeah, he's a very talented dude. You can tell that he's thinking about, like, from his entrance, he thinks about everything. Doesn't go along with the crowd going, Ospreay, Ospreay. You know, even the fact that he has that is pretty badass. Yeah. Like, he's dressed up like the Punisher. He has the Billy Goat skull instead of like a human skull. I just was looking at him going, yeah, this guy gets it. Then you have Kyle Fletcher coming out, and why I love white gear. I love wrestlers in white gear. I think it looks badass, but like, why does he have a crown? Yeah. Like, why is he a king now? I don't know what the vibe is there. I mean, he needed something, but he didn't need a crown. Like, what king is he? Because they even mentioned it on commentary. I just think like crowns are a thing that should be used so sparingly in wrestling. Like, when somebody wears a crown, it should fucking mean something. Yeah, King Haku. Yeah, Macho King. Yeah, King Harley Race. Yeah, I just don't. Hacksaw King Duggan. I just don't get why he was. I was going. I want to die a king or something, his thing says before. I don't care if I die as long as I'm king or something. And you're like... You'd say, like, you could do a Kingslayer type thing, but, like, it's not, you know, that'd be for, like, a main event guy. That's Moxley, you know what I mean? They already had Kings of the Black Throne. Yeah. I don't know. Again, Don Callis' stable needs a little bit of cohesion as well. Like, the whole thing about Hobbs just coming back and not being with them anymore, is like, that's a whole storyline opportunity completely missed there, lads. Yeah, just like Roosh and Lance Archer. Yeah, I'd make like you could have this fucking thing with him and Jay kind of double crossing each other. Two old gangsters running this faction against each other. Do that, like. No, because like the lads defended there's good stuff happening there. Like, there is good stuff happening there. I like that they're doing something with Brian Cage. Don Callis, yeah, I like the Cage Archer thing. I think Callis' family, actually, the storylines they've been telling have been probably more cohesive than the Elite things. Like, up until Moxley came around, like that, they were the most, I think, not necessarily the main focus of the show, but like just the logical bit of storytelling going on. The Ospreay Callis stuff was great throughout the year. The Omega Callis stuff, I could leave a screwdriver out of it. There just needs to be a little bit more. Again, I don't want to use this word a lot, but cohesion, you know. But this match, in terms of, I don't know where the storyline goes. I'm intrigued though. I think it's been good. It was the right winner, in my opinion. I thought Ospreay was going to win, but like, I don't think that was the big one where I was like, oh wow, they've really gone off course. Do you think Kyan's going to go back to Aussie Open? I thought no, sure, he left Mark Davis, unless Mark Davis turns on Ospreay. I really feel like Mark Davis is going to turn on Ospreay, but I don't know if that reforms the team then. The match itself though, like, I've sometimes had criticism of Ospreay where, as the match goes on, he seems to still be as crisp. You know, everything seems to hit like so perfectly and stuff, where there should be this element of like, I am absolutely fecked here. Yeah. You know, I can't pull this off. And that's why I've always credited Cody with, whether it's right or wrong, that sometimes he just doesn't pull off moves the way you want it. But it also feeds into the story of the match. Whereas I felt Ospreay, for 90% of this match, selling that shoulder. Yeah. Like, even coming out with the Kinsey tape on, you could tell when Kyle Fletcher started going after that, you were like, that was a conscious decision for Ospreay to highlight the fact that his show, like, I know they're going to highlight it on commentary, but Ospreay is going to give you a visual representation of that in the match as well. Yeah, I mean, you see wrestlers with it on the whole, like Cesaro's always wrapped in it. No one seems to go after it, but Ospreay was wrapped in it and Kyle went after it. No, I mean, it's very much that, like, Japanese booking methodology, like really focusing on a lot of matches around injuries. And when you look at the action of that match, like, it was all worth it. Everything's just, again, felt logical. Like, I was really surprised. I actually didn't know I was going to win it because Fletcher's been so well built up, but I was still surprised when he beat him, and he beat him clean. Yeah, and like kind of have to beat him after you tombstone pile drive. I thought there was going to be a bit more shenanigans. I thought some Mark Davis stuff was going to happen, but clean match, and like, they've got loads of places to go. It's still a hot storyline. The two of them have been
been really, really strong in it.
What do you think of Bubba Ray Dudley's opinion? You're probably going to laugh. Opinion on the fact that he's kind of given out about that spot on the steel steps, the pile driver, tombstone pile driver on it, and he's like, that should write you off traditionally in wrestling storytelling. And then he compared it to the impact that Kevin Owens and Randy Orton's pile driver had on SmackDown. Like, we hadn't seen it. It was a terrible pile driver.
That's like WWE, who like fucked pile drivers for years, and then they decided to retire pile drivers, and they're critiquing how other people use pile drivers.
But it was just like...
But I take the point, and I do feel that, like, okay, Owens Orton was a good way of re-establishing the move. I think it is a bit overused.
But like off the apron onto steps.
Like if the pile driver, like if it's the universally accepted move in the world of professional wrestling, that when that happens, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
I don't mean, wrestling. I don't mean you can't kick out one on the steps, but like that needs to be like something like that needs to be so close to your finish.
Yeah, it was close enough, but we still got the the tiger driver. What I loved about it was kind of like a tiger. Like Ospreay's arm was dangling when he was getting in. You're like, that's perfect. That's great storytelling.
I thought they told a really good storyline, and again, there's loads of places to go with it. I think that'll keep. Like,
is Kyle Fletcher a world champion, or does it seem like they're just heating him up because they have shows in Australia?
I think he's been they kept him going once Mark Davis was injured, and he's been slowly kind of built, and he had this kind of it's like cocky young prodigy gimmick, and it works for him, but he's really, since he shaved his head,
yeah, since and then he starts growing it back. I'm like, no, keep it bald, bro.
Yeah, man, he trucked through a couple of different hairstyles this year. He was really trying to find something that worked for him. He's like, fuck it, I'll shave it off, but actually integrate it into the storyline. He looks kind of badass. Like, he looks like he's achieving his final form.
He's after putting on size, and he still has his speed and his agility.
You look at him in the ring, like he's a big fucker. Like, and I've seen him live before, but like, dude's really filled out. Like,
but standing beside Mark Davis when we seen him in, say, an OTT, he looked like a slimy guy, and his hair was all
just a young, little young punk.
He's only what, 25 now.
In fairness, yeah.
But that's my problem, or my worry, is that they're heating him up for the Australia show. That's when Tony Storm is going to come back, obviously. Buddy Murphy, it'd be nice to see them heat him up for the Australia show.
Yeah, like, they've moved that now to a smaller stadium, WrestleMania 7 style.
Yeah, like...
Through no controversy, other than the fact that, like, WWE really are the only ones who can sell.
Well, like, apparently it's not, like...
But absolutely getting into a smaller, venue, and
they started doing
giving it an insane atmosphere.
Apparently, they start doing that with TV tapings now as well. They've started
they're using the Hammerstein soon, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a great move.
I know Brett Lauderdale from GCW was giving out about it. He was like, we're running there like less than 30 days before or after them, and then now they're doing it, and apparently it's not a done thing in wrestling. But WWE used to have things in their contracts going, if we put on a show here, you can't have another wrestling show for 90 days.
Yeah.
So, but apparently Brett Lauderdale wasn't too pleased with that. More stuff like the Hammerstein Ballroom, and...
I think just need to get more atmosphere back into the product.
Yeah. But I just think with Kyle Fletcher, if they get him up to Australia and then they do fuck all with him, That's my big fear, right? Because that's what they seem like they do with people. They push them and then they drop off.
Like, what's his ceiling there? Like, in terms of Australia, like, I could see him beating Daniel Garcia, potentially.
Yeah.
That would make sense. And even keeping him strong as a heel.
Yeah.
That's maybe an interesting story to be told.
But is he, going up against Buddy Murphy, Australia via Australia?
Could easily do that, yeah.
Probably need to do something like that.
I feel like a title wouldn't go Australian there.
Yeah, but
is he in the Continental Classic, Kyle?
Yeah,
he is,
I
isn't
think
he?
so. Yeah, but they had the Continental Classic. So what happens if you win that? Okada loses it?
This is the thing. Yeah, well, somebody gets the belt from Okada, I guess. Yeah. But like last year, the Ring of Honor World Title and the New Japan Strong Title were integrated into it.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be the Triple Crown of American wrestling.
Yeah,
and it feels like they've lost that idea.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the second Eddie Kingston had to defend it against.
Chris Jericho should be in there. You know what I mean? He's a New Japan Strong champ.
No idea anymore.
Lost that one.
Mercedes Moné.
Yes, not untrue.
But fantastic match with Ospreay. He's your diamond. He's the guy.
Yeah, he's going to be, and like I don't think he doesn't need to be the main event right now, but like
Is he the guy to topple Moxley?
No, it's going to be Darby Allin, but
Yeah.
I think his time will happen maybe in the next year to 18 months.
Yeah, he just has to get through Don Callis' family.
Yeah, and I think that's a good storyline for him at the moment.
The next thing then, brilliant match. I'll give it 10 out of 10. I know I enjoyed watching it. A lot of my critique over AEW is like great matches but no story. That one had a great story, I thought, in it.
Yeah.
Clean finish. Don Callis is great, hearing him on commentary. And what I like about Don Callis on commentary is that he also praises like Will Ospreay as a really good competitor, which makes his guy look even better when he beats him.
Yeah, I thought they all kind of excelled at like getting each other over to the point that they could. Like, I don't think Ospreay lost anything in defeat. You know what I mean? Everybody gained a lot in that match. Really well structured, really well put together.
What wasn't well put together was the next segment.
Well, nice segue, Shane.
Thank you very much. I'm king of the segues.
Very nice.
Fuck you, Carl Fletcher. I'm the king. Mariah May, I fucked it. Mariah May and Mina
Shirakawa.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I think it. No, did I?
I don't know. But that was absolutely woeful.
Tons of backstory there, and it was such a lame, badly thought out angle.
Why are they doing a celebration angle 4 months after she won the title?
What the fuck is going on?
Champagne celebration.
What's going on?
You won 4 months ago, man.
Like, Mina's got tons of charisma, and I think she's a great. She's going to be a great opponent for her, and they can potentially do a good storyline. But like, considering the fact that they've had a long running partnership, you know, from Stardom all the way into AEW, and they've leaned on that. This just felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like what would Maria's justification be for it? I know it's harking back to her turn on Tony Storm, but that was to get the title.
And we're living in an era where you expect a little bit more nuance in your villains, you know? Like Moxley demonstrates. Like Jack Perry was not really.
No, we'll get to him.
Yeah, but what's Maria doing? Like, why is she turning on her friend? Why she like? I know her thing is like, you know, she turned on Tony.
Yeah, but she turned on Tony to get the title. She had the title shot, but to heat it up.
Like, what?
Like now you have someone in your corner, and you're turning against them.
What's her deal? Like female Kevin Owens? Is that the thing? But even Owens and stuff, like psychologically, is trying to show all of it. He's such a good performer. He keeps up all
his reasoning with like turning on Cody and stuff recently has been fantastic.
Yeah.
But this was just so poorly done, poorly.
Like Mariah's been great. It just seems like this is not very well thought out. I hope they can kind of salvage it a bit, because I think it could be a great storyline.
What I did enjoy was they kind of somewhat subverted expectations and didn't just have Mariah, you know, crease her.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at, like, you know, for example, the shoe angle, like after the Owen Hart Cup where she turned on Tony, it was amazing. And like, if you want to give this angle like a little bit of steam,
you need to crack a champagne bottle over someone's head.
You need to smash someone up. I know, but like, do it in a way that's integrated into the storyline. Like you said, you know, a celebration like a couple of months after the fact.
I get what they were doing. They were in terms of like, you just had Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher put on an absolute banger, and then your next match is going to be Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia. So you need to lull the crowd. So they needed something in there to somewhat lull the crowd.
But again, it's the women's title. Like, how has that just not been defended on a giant 6-hour card?
Because they have too many wrestlers, which isn't a bad thing. Like, you know,
maybe
it's not. It would be great. Like, right, if you ever play with your action figures, there's obviously certain action figures that you play with and certain ones that didn't get on the card, and you know you're never giving away those action figures.
Do you? Oh, I asked a stupid question.
Yeah. Still playing with it. No. But if when you were a kid and you were playing with them, you were like doing your cards or whatever, there's certain action figures that never really got played with.
Just weren't as good.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have given those action figures away?
Give those action figures their own storyline.
Yeah.
Stick them in developmental for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. The match will be all right, I'm sure.
I think they're two good performers. I just think that as a way to launch this angle, it fucking bombed.
So what's your overall sentiment towards this pay-per-view at this moment when you're watching it? I'm like, man, this is dragging.
At this stage, I'm kind of going like, this is, and I think this proved to be the case with me, but I was like, this is kind of, it's not a bad pay-per-view by any means. I am enjoying it, but it's a bottom 3 AEW pay-per-view experience for me.
Bottom 3?
Bottom 3, I'd say. Well, I don't know what that 3 is exactly, but
let's get the remainder, if you remain that way at the end of it. Because I'm watching it, And I'm going, right, I just seen Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Okay, what's left? I'm like, all right, there's Daniel Garcia, Jack Perry. There's Ricochet and Takeshita. And I have...
And everyone's going 20 minutes at least.
Yeah, and I have the OC and... what's his name?
Orange
Not
Cassidy?
the OC. Yeah.
What?
The OC, yeah. Doc Gallows and Carol Anderson. The original club come out with Orange Cassidy and Moxley coming up. And I'm like, I'm not particularly psyched for any of these matches. And you have Swerve and Lashley.
Yeah, I know. The last two matches were things I was excited about.
Right.
Definitely.
Jack Perry and Garcia, once again, feeding into the presentation. Jack Perry has absolutely no heat.
No heat.
He has no credence.
He's kind of anti-heat. He's definitely in like Sammy Guevara territory.
Like... The mask that he comes out in.
No one is excited to see him. No one's excited to boo him either. It's just
when you see his van pull up, you're like, oh, this stupid.
He was working with the Elite for a while because he had people to bounce off of. But again, this is just not get back to the jungle, lad.
Get back to the. But like, he is like a Hollywood actor's son. That's a nepo baby in the eyes of the universe. Everyone's all talking about nepo baby this, nepo baby that. Just be a nepo baby.
He would honestly, right now, for what he needs in his career, he would be at his best if he was just plugged back into Christian Cage, as heels, and let them do the prodigal son storyline with Christian Cage for the patriarchy, and let him be back with Christian for a while.
And like view,
and then you can set up ways like that's feuds. But you got this whole family of like the sons. You got the Kip Sabians. You got Nick Wayne. You can do so much great stuff with Christian, and Jack Perry needs someone like Christian Cage. Like they worked so well together before.
He perceives himself in a certain way. That's what, and no one else does. He kind of has this.
I know, like in wrestling, I'm sure like there is a degree of like fake it till you make it, but again, it's just not translating into interest for him.
His mask in itself looks like it was bought in Pound City.
If you went for some cool kind of like, if you want to literally become a goat, like some fucking Black Phillip looking fucking scary ass goat, and he looked like he was fucking he just he dropped in after trick or treating.
His mom bought it for him for Halloween,
and he hasn't been able to see for 2 hours. And nobody gave him any sweets,
and he's coming out and he's like
and
this,
and
you're like, man, you have no anything. You have nothing that I am interested in seeing.
A cool van.
It's not even a cool van. I made my own title and everything is black because I'm a badass. And you're like, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
Just be a preppy little bollocks. Be Clueless. Like Alicia Silverstone in Clueless. Darby Allin comes down on skateboard, you come down on Heelys.
Yeah, like, when the Elite when he was plugged into the Elite doing their Succession stuff, it's like, be their cousin Greg. Like, just be cousin Greg. That's what you need to be in that, and like play into your fucking actual background.
He perceived himself to be like a Bray Wyatt character.
I think he kind of put himself in a kind of gimmick that he anticipated would work well to feud with CM Punk, which.
I like
to be fair, he was doing it before that as well.
When I seen it in New Japan,
variation on it.
Yeah, his variation of when he was Barry in Jungle Boy and became Jack Perry and came out to the classical music. Yeah. I was like, nah, man, no. What you need to do is you need to get new gear. You need to stop thinking that you're like a Bray Wyatt. Like this whole thing of, I'm going to turn. They reran the WrestleMania 30 angle with John Cena and Bray Wyatt. I'm going to have to make you turn bad and all this, and we're going to, which I don't think they had any real motif for doing it, bar like the Deathrider storyline, which he isn't really involved in, and he's there and he's holding himself like he's going to be a martyr, and you're like, no one cares. I know.
Then he had a fairly long title reign, and I had a feeling Garcia was going to win it, and I think it was the right choice. But like again, you just don't have like Perry was kind of like offering himself up to him so much as well. You're like, that's just, are they playing into that he's young, he's naive? Is that the thing? He thinks he's a goat.
Yeah.
He has an actual ghost themed gimmick.
He needs a little Bo Peep. That's what he needs. He needs a little Bo Peep.
Yeah, he needs to be trip-trapping over some bridges.
Yeah.
He needs to be skipping around a mountain.
Just change up. Just don't put him on TV anymore. Throw him down. Throw him down the ring. I'm sorry.
I want this man to lose his job. Actually, he's probably grand for money.
I don't want him to lose his. I think the presentation of him is all wrong. I think, and this is where
it feels like he's got the gimmick he has now is like the perfect gimmick he should have when he's like 35.
Yeah, when he it looks like he deserves it. When it looks like his face. And his decisions have had some consequences on his face.
I know. I think Jungle Boy should have just kind of like that should have just transitioned into Jungle Man. I think we should be in Jungle Man phase now.
Jungle Man phase.
You can do a good dark fucking broody Tarzan gimmick.
Yeah,
figure something out.
You had a dinosaur with you for a while, and he becoming Kill Switch. I'm not calling him Luchasaurus anymore. He's Kill Switch. He's after changing the way he comes across.
I think, Luchasaurus, I think, benefited from being with Christian Cage. There's still, and I hope that guy gets well soon and he gets to come back, but there is a long build-in storyline with him and Christian that they need to pay off. I would just get Jack Perry back in there with Christian. I think that's what he needs. It makes sense.
I like Daniel Garcia. I think
he's great. I missed the dancing. I do. I've got to be honest about it. I missed the dancing.
Someone made the comparison of Kyle Fletcher being like a Randy Orton kind of guy for AEW. I think it's, if you're to compare anyone, I think Daniel Garcia has that kind of edge or that look that Orton had before he became the Legend Killer.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if he's a little bit more kind of street tough. That's always been the...
I didn't like the vignette beforehand where he was just kind of like standing around looking at stuff.
Yeah, I think they built him really well for that. And obviously he's been signed to a new contract recently, I think. So they want to give him incentive. His first title win in AEW of any kind, which is great. I think it's deserved. I think he's been really good the last couple of months.
He's really young.
Yeah, give him a run and let him have some class feuds with some fucking veterans. You know?
Does he go back to Jack Perry? Is there a new TNT title now?
Yeah, he should definitely. What would he do?
Spinner belt.
Don't think he's the one for the spinner belt. I don't know. Maybe just bring back the old red strap.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Bring back some kind of version of the OG one, and I feel like TNT title. It's had its ups and downs, but it was going through a really good period there for a while. And Jack Perry was like, when he won it, you're going, maybe he could do something with this. He fucking smolted the thing, or fucking, brought it down to his fucking blacksmith operation.
Yeah,
fucking just made shit of it.
Oh, he's so bad.
Yeah,
so young though, so maybe.
There's still potential in him. Give him a chance, lads.
But I think Tony Khan needs to be just like, hey, look, I know you think you're this. It looked good in New Japan right after the CM Punk stuff.
It's the same thing with some of the younger talent in AEW. It's great not to give them such prominent positions, but they lean too much on them. Like, they've been trying too hard with someone who just need a little bit more simmer time. Look at Sammy Guevara. Like, he's in fucking bits.
Did you like the fact that Daniel Garcia did not go near Matt Menard on commentary?
Don't know what was going on.
That would look weird, didn't it?
Yeah, because it's a well-established buddy thing. Unless you've got stuff, I'd love to see Menard do more stuff. I think he's great.
Yeah. Do you think? Look, because Chris Jericho is after getting a lot of flack because he seems to, or used to, insert himself with the next hot star, whether that be in some form of Inner Circle or with the Jericho Appreciation Society, Inner Circle 2.0, and no one's ever seemed to come out of it with any type of...
And right now he's with that hot young upstart Tomohiro Ishii.
Is he up against Ishii?
That's his feud at the moment. Oh, yeah. So in fairness, he's not...
But I mean,
I think he's maybe become a little bit more aware of that. And
I mean, Jericho with the old LAX, Santana and Ortiz, Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager. Nothing really came out of that. Then you had the Inner Circle 2.0. No one really came out with that. No. And then you had the Jericho Appreciation Society, and no one really came out with that, bar now Daniel Garcia. So you were saying you missed the dancing. That came about during the Jericho Appreciation Society. So has he benefited from being under the tutelage of one Chris Irvine?
I would say Daniel Garcia has benefited way more than Sammy Guevara has. Yeah. Because the character change, that the build to that, the reasons he did it made sense. The whole thing was logical. He came out of it in a kind of logical way. There wasn't a big blow-off feud with Jericho, which really was the problem. But I think he definitely benefited from it because he could show a slightly goofier part of himself. And actually, like a dancing gimmick is a death knell for wrestlers. Mostly.
Kozlov.
Look at, like, you've seen with Kozlov or like Matt Bloom, like even A-Train, Tensai, whatever, Prince Albert.
He was in a dress at one stage.
Oh man, he came back as like this Japanese badass, and then they fucking stuck him.
He bet John Cena.
Yeah, and then he was dancing
With the Funkasaurus.
the hip hop hippo. Like, what the fuck? But some guys make a dancing gimmick work. Rikishi, for example.
Yeah.
And actually Daniel Garcia, because it seems so incongruous with his fucking character beforehand, you know?
Yeah, but that's why the pairing with Jericho worked, because they were sport entertainers as opposed to wrestlers.
I think he came out of it kind of well, and I think Bryan Danielson was kind of part of that change. Like, and it was always kind of positive.
And
This lad could have joined the BCC, but he went this way.
Yeah. And MJF was obviously part of this new kind of fierce Daniel Garcia that we've got.
Because he's not one of the 4 pillars, but I would say he is probably the 5th pillar.
Oh,
Because he wasn't in there when the doors opened, but he's, I think, established himself as one of like the top young lions of the promotion.
Yeah, and they really hit upon his Continental Classic last year, only getting the win on Brody King. So are they building him up? Are they going to build him up in this one?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, considering his age and everything, I feel like I would like to see more of a chase for the title for him. But like, again, that won't matter if he just has a really productive run and he gets good feuds against opponents who are going to get the best out of him, who can level him up as well.
Yeah, and it's hard to get something over, I think, in wrestling nowadays, that because everything seems to be done, but his finish is great, where he has that extra level with the crank. Like, you know, when Kurt Angle got the ankle lock on, you're like, oh, someone's could reverse it, but when he grapevined the leg, you're like, it's over.
That's it. You're
so
done.
when Garcia gets that thing on and then he gets the crank in it, it's that extra little level, which I think it should be appreciated.
And it built really perfectly. Like, I really, apart from like, you know, Jack Perry's weird dramatic fucking look at me, hit me hard interludes. There was a lot of good wrestling in the match. Finish was great. Yeah, like, I really thought it built really well. And nice celebration. Again, it would have, if they just lobbed in Guns N' Roses there. That maybe
and Matt Menard, some confetti maybe.
Yeah. A little hint of a dance. Just a little.
Well, he gets up on the ropes before the match like
that,
this.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know, man. If you can't jive when you win the TNT title, man, can you jive?
He looked actually pissed off when he won it. He looked annoyed. He got the AEW flag and stormed out. Next match then is Takeshita and Ricochet?
I think so.
Wasted Takeshita.
Like, they've been building the feud for a while. They've paid Ricochet a lot. They want to feature him prominently, but I don't really know which way they're going. Ricochet could possibly do with fucking some Hurt Syndicate business.
New gear.
He came in strong, man, because he had that big chain, and you're like, yeah, we're getting like, you know, getting a fucking more rough feud. Rugged Ricochet. Good old
That'd be a great name.
Rugged Ricochet. Here he comes.
Rugged Ronnie Ricochet.
You know, but so that he had, I was like, oh yeah, maybe he's going for a low-key kind of Mr. T thing here. That could kind of work. And the pants he's wearing now, like, you know, they're very Shannon Moore when he was Matt Hardy's acolyte. Like, they really are. It's it's a certain type of flair that you feel uncomfortable looking at in a man nowadays.
I always felt like, even when he was in WWE and sometimes he'd like put on a big superhero outfit and stuff, you're like, man, like, just
if you want to come to AEW be a main eventer, like, just upgrade your look to like a main eventer look.
Go back to
case in point, a Kyle Fletcher, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look like you're a main event guy, and he just, those pants are just scream. Sorry to be going on with the fucking pants, but man, like, it's like wearing weird little like coloured flares that were also like the same, like him and Takeshita were wearing the same colours.
Yeah.
It's like, you can do something better here, man.
Yeah, like this is exactly my sentiments towards Hangman. That's what I feel when I see Hangman.
Flames are cool.
Flames are not cool. They were cool
Guy
on Bam
Fieri,
Bam. That's
Bam
it.
Bam Bigelow.
Kane. Remember when Kane had the flame going up his...
Hey, Kane didn't wear like a flame shirt.
No, but he wore flame pants in like 2013 before the Authority stuff.
Like, anytime you go to a gig or like a music festival, you see a lad wearing a flame shirt, don't you just think that's the coolest guy?
Yeah, he's standing beside the guy
I've ever encountered in my life.
He's standing beside a guy in a shirt.
He's got flames on his shirt.
Where a wolf is howling at the moon.
Oh man.
It's like those.
I didn't think you could top it, but then you went there.
Yeah, it's like those.
Give you that.
You know what? I seen someone in an Affliction shirt there recently. Do you remember those? Remember when Tap Out was big? Affliction was like Affliction was like the other Tap Out.
It does have a wolf on it though.
A skull.
A horse
has a skull.
Skulls are all right, but like flames, man.
Yeah,
next level.
It's all about the flames.
Yeah.
Takeshita, he's fucking awesome.
He's great.
When you think about that roster, it's so good. It's great that we get to see him all. It's just be nice if they're all in like.
I think
stories.
if we just had a better sense, like we did in the early AEW, where you know what level everyone is supposed to be pitched at.
Yeah.
Who are like the main eventers? Who are the veterans? Who are
Yeah, but you see, they have so many.
It needs a bit more of a hierarchy.
Yeah, they have so many mid-carders or mid-card titles that everything just seems really messed up.
It's just very busy, and it's not like they don't have the TV time to rectify it. And just
but that's why I think
there is some great stuff happening, and like it's not been terrible.
The story's building up to it,
but in terms of where they were at 3 years ago, and again, as I said, no, I'm not going to say that word again. I've said it too much.
Cohesion.
Everything just needs to be joined up a little bit better.
Yeah. Was it Daniel Garcia that came out in the T-shirt that says "Bring the feeling back"?
Don't know.
I think Daniel Garcia came out in a T-shirt that said "Bring the feeling back."
So I thought the feeling was back, and then I watched this pay-per-view, and I'm like, all right, it's not quite.
It's not very bad.
But look, if it's a placeholder, it wasn't back hard by any means. If it's a placeholder for an excellent World's End, I'm happy with that.
Do you feel like they need, with the story that they're building, they need to get through certain things?
What story?
Yeah, what story? With the Deathriders. So with that overarching narrative of them taking over, because I don't want to see Orange Cassidy in a main event of a pay-per-view. I don't think it's a main. When you have people like Takeshita there.
I thought it was.
When you have people like Will Ospreay, MJF.
No, I think it's too soon to do those things, and I think they're
shouldn't be done.
They're mostly in productive storylines. I think for whatever storyline they're telling, which seems to be like a degree of AEW originals who haven't fulfilled their full potential.
Yeah,
Moxley's put himself top of the mountain, and he's going, "You lads have been here 5 years. I've held this 4 fucking times. Where you at?" And Orange Cassidy's a great opponent for that. They have brilliant chemistry. They had a fantastic match at the previous year's Full Gear.
That was TNT title.
No, International. So like I was into the story they're telling. I don't think it's exactly like the optimum feud for Moxley right now. But in terms of where they seem to be going with it, Darby Allin.
We'll get to that in a moment, because there's another match where Takeshita wins.
Sorry, Takeshita wins. Ricochet wore weird pants,
terrible pants, and I could have done without that on the card. Leave it on Dynamite.
I would have rather seen a solid women's title match or a solid trios match.
Or Okada, he'd be nice in some.
It's the international title. Just do that, and go back up to Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, lads. And
Takeshi's all over the place.
Yeah,
man,
just do build the international title as an international title, like Pac had kind of done.
He wrestled in OTT.
I saw that match with LJ Cleary. It's fantastic. Everybody benefits.
Yeah.
It was just great seeing the AEW title being defended in a fucking complex in Dublin. Unreal.
You can do that. You should. You have so many wrestlers that you can do that with.
And that's how you just make that title different from the TNT title, the Continental Championship. You know what I mean?
Like Tony Khan was kind of not giving out. He was talking about WWE ID program, and he was talking about them trying to get a foothold in the indies, and obviously WWE have history of especially NXT UK and the territory system and all that, and taken from the indies, not really giving back. And it was kind of cool where OTT benefited from AEW or whatever, but AEW were kind of helping out indies and letting lads do indie shows. But at the same time, anytime someone got hot in the indies, AEW just took them up.
Yeah.
And anytime New Japan, New Japan's relationship with AEW has probably been so detrimental to New Japan.
It's starting to flip back the other way. I think New Japan have planted seeds that are just about starting to grow. I think the fact that Kenny's coming back there first is a big bonus for them.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to suggest is I
get your point. Yeah, it's taken New Japan. They lost most of their top stars to AEW.
But what that international title could do is you're going to be our touring champion.
Yeah,
and you're going to tour and help out all these indie promotions. This is my way of giving back to the indies or whatever. I'm going to send my star to all these promotions to wrestle, and maybe even lose it, and then help create another star.
And also, it's an inbuilt gimmick. Like if you can do that, where you're going you've got to do, I don't know, you have to go for 2 weeks on a tour, you have to go for a month on a tour. You're not on mainstream AEW TV, and then you return then after a month at a time, whatever way you structure it. Like the fact that there's a champion that gets dropped into AEW every 2 months or something, 3 months, and who's been on the road, who's fucking traveled more than anyone, who's been defending titles all over the world, and then has to defend his title for a stretch in AEW before he trucks off again. Like, it just would give each defense, again, if it was well structured, it would mean something, because you're going, okay, this is a fucking man who's really working the road, and that's why he's different from every other champion.
Yeah, like Wrestle Dynasty. You're going to have an intercontinental or international title
that should
match.
be the gimmick of the championship, and I don't think that detracts from anyone.
Like,
and they need that. Like, at least the Continental Classic, there is something there where you're going, oh, it's part of this Triple Crown tournament, or it's a representation of a Triple Crown belt.
Like, imagine Takeshita, right, as that champion, goes over to Rev Pro or whatever, takes on Oku, loses to Oku. Then Oku has to go to AEW.
He has to show up in AEW for a month or two, yeah.
Just a month or two. Yeah. That's it. And that's the way of giving back to the indies.
And that's a good way of, again, it's just a good way of structuring. And it's also, it gives a sense of, like, wrestling all around the world.
Yeah.
In that way that WWE, claims that they want to do. That's just them wrestling in different parts of the world. But, like...
you see...
AEW is an opportunity there to...
You've seen it with Grayson Waller. He's gone back to Australia. We're getting Lyra Valkyria now in OTT.
But those storylines are not in any way tied into WWE,
yeah, I guess you know? It'd be cool.
But it's great. I mean, I think it's...
AEW did tie in but didn't they show LJ and Pac?
They did, because initially, like, that seemed to be the gimmick of the belt, and then it's been quietly dropped for
All Atlantic title or something.
All Atlantic, and it just got rebranded to international. But, like, the same principles should apply. Like, that's the shit that goes to all the other countries.
Ricochet showed up in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling to
challenge Takeshita.
Yeah. And it would have been cool if that happened there in Maple Leaf Pro
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
And I think that would have been good for the belts, better for them. I think it would have helped the Full Gear card as well. You can rerun it on Dynamite or Collision.
Yeah. And just be like,
give that title more of a gimmick.
Give us the footage, and that'll build out any on-demand service as well, because you're getting fucking on-demand content from different places that look different. Like, I was watching Shotgun Saturday night there recently, and it was in Penn Station, underneath Madison Square Garden.
You always remember that. Like, I remember, like, Undertaker, Tombstone, and Triple H on the top of the escalator. Like,
it looked so cool.
They were magic, and the barroom shows that did as well. That was the first and only, I think, ever really good, like, Terry Funk, Steve Austin angle in WWF. Like, there was. We got Mankind and Bret Hart for, like, I think the only time maybe on television as a main event.
Even when you look at Mall of America, WCW, and I know GCW are doing certain things like that.
That's the thing AEW needs to be tapping into. And I can see WWE getting a kind of... I mean, they did it with Arthur Ashe to a degree, but also...
With NXT.
They're doing it with NXT. Like that ECW arena show, it was like, feed it, like, lean into the history and the pedigree and the gimmick of the place.
Yeah.
Of particular places, and try some... Hog Wild, man. Get it back.
Yeah, Hog Wild back.
Get a load of bikers out. Let them watch wrestling for free. Sturgis, South Dakota? North Dakota?
I don't know. Eric Bischoff territory.
Probably biker territory.
Yeah. The Bash at the Beach. All that kind of stuff.
Put it on a beach.
Put it on a beach. Put it in Panama City, where WCW held the last ever Nitro.
There you go.
There we go. And have the wall standing on top of a...
You'd even miss the Jericho Cruise. That was a very distinct thing that AEW used to do in the early days. Yeah. You know?
But like WWE, if they change... I like when even they change up their sets. Like after the Raw after WrestleMania felt like a big deal because it was such a stripped down set.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about Full Gear is that, like, the AEW sets are just...
They're all the same.
Kind of bleeding into one now as well.
Yeah, it's like TNA.
That's the sign of a tired company, I think, in some ways. I mean, look, not everybody
WWE,
needs to...
Now, the WWE were the same. Like, but when you think of Backlash, you think of the swinging pendulums.
Yeah, but WWE don't need to lean on that so much now because they're performing big shows in such a diverse range of countries.
Yeah, like sometimes
and places, and the fans are so active that, like, the fans detract from the fact that we don't have... fancy bells and whistles, we don't need them.
And it's kind of cool where, like, the Royal Rumble always takes place in a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
So that looks different. Then you have your stadium shows, and then you have your... we have to go on to Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate business.
Yeah, this match, it wasn't anything spectacular. It seemed like it was the first chapter in something that's going to be a bit longer.
Was it a good call having Bobby go over?
I think so, yeah.
You kind of needed to.
Swerve loses nothing there. And like they need to establish that faction as a top heel faction, and I think Swerve is so well established now. Bobby needed it. Swerve didn't lose a lot from it.
The JR has kind of come out and criticised. He was on commentary for it.
They got him out. They
rolled out JR, but he kind of criticised the fact that Shelton Benjamin is now immediately a second player to Bobby.
I get that, but like, look, good booking. You won't have to do that. Shelton's in he's in the Continental Classic now.
Yeah. He looks like a beat when he's unleashed.
I think there needs to be, like, again, just better consistency with, like, secondary guys in factions, the Claudios and the Brody Kings, and that's where Shelton kind of falls right
like
now.
Even if you look at Swerve's, like how many different guys did he have in a faction before? Like what were they called? I can't even remember what they called. They had two. They had your man Trench in it.
Oh yeah, but that was like Mogul.
Mogul.
There was Mogul Embassy, and then there was a Mogul.
There was Mogul Enterprises. Then they became Mogul Embassy or something like that.
Was it Mogul? Maybe it was Mogul. Yeah, it was.
But they had Trench and Parker Bordeaux, and then he went through a few different people.
He went through a few. Then they combined with the Embassy.
Yeah.
Then he did Brian Cage and like the Gateswagon.
And then he was just with.
And then he got Matt over, and he just doesn't need any of that shit.
Him and Prince Nana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think Swerve doesn't need to have his face on his pants. I think that looked weird. But you're saying he's doing a tribute to a rapper or something.
It was a tribute to Tyler, the Creator, but like all of his entrances are very heavily gimmicked. Like, it's a fun part of his act.
Swerve is great.
Like solid match for what it was. Bobby's getting on. There isn't.
So is Shelton. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is it the right call?
But I think but guys like that, like get him in hard, like go in with Impact, establish him well. And
would you like to see Matt Caster with the Hurt Syndicate?
Might be going that way. I think so. Yeah, I'd really rather see Ricochet, to be honest.
Anthony Bones. I'd prefer to see. He's the star of that Acclaimed.
Maybe I think the Hurt Syndicate are really good faction and addition.
If they're used to help prop up the younger talent in the same way Evolution was with Triple H and Ric Flair, help as a vehicle to get over.
Yeah,
Randy,
I mean, look, like
Batista.
those guys kind of feel that they never got to realise their potential in WWE. I think for them to realise their potential now in AEW, they're going to need to really make a young guy, as part of that faction, in a way that like Cedric Alexander didn't really. It was great for him to be part of that.
Oh, he's still with WWE, isn't he?
He's down in NXT, and he's a good hand. But they
probably kicking himself now.
But they need to make a star, and it could be a Caster, it could be a Bones.
I'd love to see actually AEW. There's a beast on the independents.
It also could be a Keith Lee if he comes back,
especially going up against Swerve.
I mean, that would be a real like heavyweight bruiser faction.
But talking about heavyweight bruisers, there's a guy on the independents. I seen him against Jake something there recently. Calvin Tankman.
If you got a name like Tankman,
oh man, he is an absolute unit of a man.
Half tank.
Yeah, go check out Calvin Tankman if you get the chance. And then we got on to the main event.
Mox and Orange.
Yeah, I fell asleep, and then I genuinely fell asleep because it was 4 hours of play. And then I had to go back and watch it.
It was a fantastic brawl. I think those two guys have good chemistry.
What did you think of the actual build up to it, where they had him all tied up, and he still does his little kicks?
Wasn't mad on it.
Yeah,
no,
I get what they're doing. Going, I'm defiant. I'm not going to change.
I don't think this is the feud for this. Like we've just seen these guys try to. Well, actually, just straight up fucking Red Wedding Bryan Danielson. The stakes need to be a little bit higher for that aspect of Orange's act.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's the internal logic of that? Is he just trying to trivialize them? Is he trying to like?
That's what I
take
think.
The air out with
it's
him?
Like you're trying to change
but
me,
also,
but this is the essence of AEW. Is what I did.
Maybe, yeah.
That's the storyline beat. I think they went. I think Moxley is the best he's looked like in AEW.
He's in fantastic shape.
He's in great shape.
Him and Marina Shafir work so.
Marina is.
I do again cohesion and just like everything exists in the same universe. Roddy Strong and Renee Paquette need to fucking acknowledge that.
Yeah, it's just
it's like why is your husband and my wife rocking around here together? No, I don't mean in any kind of romantic sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that just the two of them are like rocking around, fucking smashing the shit out of the entire roster.
What I love is what I really liked in this was I'm going to take that title out of a briefcase and put it in my bag. And they're like, yeah,
it's good. Yeah. Got a great near fall with that briefcase as well.
I don't think that it was ever in jeopardy. I liked when Daniels.
Oh yeah.
I liked when Daniels.
Well, I still bought that near fall. I
liked when Daniels started doing Cassidy's stick back to him.
Moxley.
Or what did I say? Daniel's
dead, man. They killed him off.
Yeah, they killed him with a plastic bag.
He got murdered.
I really enjoyed the feint kicks that he was doing back to Cassidy.
Yeah, like those who have like a mad chemistry and that they're both completely at the opposite ends of like the spectrum. And I think Tony Khan had said that like initially in AEW, one of his dream feuds that he wanted to book was Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley, and he's really like for whatever reason, maybe it's the level of contrast, which I think is brilliant, but like they work very well together. It doesn't feel, because again maybe the characters are just so far apart, that it does, it doesn't have it doesn't feel like anything was going to change there.
Yeah,
like Cassidy wasn't necessarily the threat, but like they could build to that in the future. But they have a weird chemistry, and like I thought it worked really well together. I think all of their matches so far have been really good. Like they haven't been disappointed.
There's a bang of Hardcore Holly and Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble 2004 off it.
That's a bit harsh.
No, like it's just Hardcore Holly, in my opinion, wasn't built up to be a main eventer. There was like a bit of a story beat there, but he was never going to beat Brock Lesnar.
Honestly, do you think Orange Cassidy could be a main eventer there?
Not under his current guys, no.
Do you think
I can buy, say, Darby Allin?
Interesting.
I can buy Darby Allin because he has a manicness to him. There's a Mick Foley-esque quality to him. I
think it is going to happen for him. I don't know about Orange, really. It's like, you know, he's got a lot of the chops, but I don't know. Do you think Orange would do well in WWE?
NXT, maybe. I just don't.
Look, I
never bought him as like any type of champion.
I don't know what the buy rate was for that pay-per-view. Do you know what it was? No. I don't know how well it sold.
I don't even look at those kind of things.
It wasn't like the hottest main event they probably could have done, but I thought for what it was good. I think it's a step in a bigger storyline. I think it's building towards Darby Allin being the one to take him down. Yeah, I don't know who the stopgap is.
I think it makes Moxley look weaker though, in terms of like that's his.
But what was really useful, I think, in terms of the story afterwards, without like taking anything away from Orange Cassidy's effort, was the fact that like as soon as it finished, you've got Hangman, Jay White, Christian Cage, Darby Allin on the scene. So I thought it was a very good and purposeful, and hopefully it will leads to you know the future storylines. And it's not some fucking fatal four-way or something at World's End.
What do you think the justification for Hangman being out there was?
Well, it was. He's got this deal with Christian Cage where he's helping him, but I think it was also, I think it was his way of sizing up Moxley.
Yeah.
And to tell him that he's...
But like, should he have not gone over Jay White then?
But Jay White was also out there. So like, I don't know, there's a lot...
Jay White come out first though.
As I said, I hope it doesn't lead to something like fucking four-way or something, but there was a lot of people in there to build. Like, I feel like maybe Hangman or Jay or Hangman and Jay could be...
So does Hangman come out and size up Moxley to just for Christian to do this?
It was just for Christian to do, yeah, which was a bit tenuous. But
yeah. What do you make of that whole like has to sign the contract before? Like,
I don't know where they're going to go with it.
It's just a little added thing on a Money in the Bank. You know, they have to get the contract signed before they have the match.
Yeah,
it's a bit mad, but yeah. And then you have Pac. He never wears streetwear. It seems.
He's walking around in Newcastle in the fucking freezing cold.
In his trunks.
Just in those trunks. The hair wet.
If I had a body like that now, I'd walk around like that.
You would, but he would also fear pneumonia.
Yeah. That's a big fear I have for Pac. Because he's missed a lot of time in AEW.
Because he's had pneumonia. Walking around fucking Newcastle, walking around the tune in his fucking jocks in the middle of winter.
What did you make it? Was that disinfected that he poured in his?
Yeah, I think so. That was... Yeah, it was a grand touch. I mean, it was keeping the kind of brutality to the fore.
I had someone be like, "Oh, he's throwing acid in his face." I was like, "That's fairly fucking full on." Yeah, if he's cut open and you're throwing disinfectant, that's going to sting like a mofo.
Yeah, I thought they sold that
without any risk really in it.
I thought they sold it pretty well. Again, not really sure where the main event scene is going. World's End's coming up, and you feel like, you know, because of Christian as well, he's not going to call a shot in advance. He's just going to do a cash-in type scenario.
Yeah. Darby Allin crashing the car. A crashing type scenario.
Yeah, Darby's making fucking shit of all kinds of things at the moment. I mean, I think the end game is Darby Moxley, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's going to be class and it's going to be violent. But what I'm getting from this is a bang of WCW off it. The Vince Russo era.
Not quite that far.
There is. This is Sid going Goldberg. That's like they're doing big set pieces. Not to say WWE haven't, and WWE have definitely done it.
Yeah, but they're doing too many of them just for the sake of doing them, and like again, it's
under murdering lads,
literally murdering lads,
and then trying to murder lads. They're committing arson.
But that's
they're setting people on fire.
You know, that's the thing. Like when you murder someone, as they did for Brett Henderson, when you murder someone, like that's got to have impact on everything. Yeah. If you keep, again, like that WCW thing, like, you know, or like Sabu with the fucking tables, you know, Sabu's whole thing to Heyman was like, hey, if everybody's fucking using tables now, it's not special when I use tables. And also, I invented it.
Yeah, well, that was my disagreement over Wrestle Dream, was that there was too many kind of hardcore spots we took away from the bag spot. But like they're accelerating it up. So set pieces are getting like car crashes and
setting lads on fire. Hypodermic needles.
Yeah, you have like these are your performers doing it. Like you have Darby.
Maybe we're not that far off acid.
That's what I'm saying.
Real acid.
Yeah.
Someone gets shot with a gun.
Like Moxley was.
Someone gets shanked.
Moxley got a cutter in CZW. You know, one of those knives like if the knife was blunt and like he had blood in his head, but looked like it was carving through his head. You know, pizza cutter style Nick Gage. Like we're not far away from that, and that's your main event scene.
Man, I would love if the eventual Moxley Derby match. I'm tempted fate here, but I would love if it was an exploding
monster truck match.
Fucking yeah, throw in monster trucks.
WCW did.
Monster trucks wrapped in barbed wire and fucking bombs. And the other side
exploding barbed wire death match.
Fuck it, yeah, do go on. Book it, Tony.
Exploding barbed wire death match. I actually would like to see it to see how they would recover from the Kenny.
Also, Darby's in it, so and he's not the biggest fella. He could be blown up.
But should Tony be like, Darby, don't be driving cars into other cars now. I know, look, you want to do it, but Goldberg wanted to smash a window and cut an artery open.
Like, has Darby Moxley been done?
I think so.
Oh, it has been done. Yeah, no, they literally did that the last maybe. No, but like,
well, it was Brody Darby.
It's never been a long running feud program, but like it was. Moxley took his title shot off him at All Out, I think, wasn't
it? I have some questions. Moxley took it at All Out,
or
Jack Perry bet Darby at All Out, and then didn't Darby beat Brody King at Wrestle Dream?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, but he lost his title shot to Moxley before that.
Maybe.
Oh no, that was at Grand Slam. Maybe it was. Yeah. Riveting.
It's so much.
Riveting as we try and remember AEW storylines over the last couple of months.
Alan Maher is going to be snapping and still saying it's great. And speaking of Alan, he did respond. I threw up on the Wrestling Fan Wrestling show. I said, "What bear your thoughts from Full Gear 2024?" It was meant to be, "What are your thoughts?" I wrote, "What bear?" Alan says 7 out of 10 for me. Highlights being Fletcher Ospreay, Jay White, Hangman, Mercedes Stat.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. But like I wouldn't say 7 out of 10 maybe.
I think this was maybe a 6. 6 sounds too harsh.
5.
No, it's
Oisin McCarthy. Good show, but there was so many matches in quick succession, it was exhausting to watch at times. I literally fell asleep during.
Yeah.
4 hours.
I did. Well, did you watch it live?
No. Okay. I wasn't up late.
Excuse you weren't up there.
I watched it Monday. I did have 3 days wrestling camp the day before.
Yeah, look, you got a good excuse. I watched it Sunday. But managed to stay awake. But there was definitely...
weird it was on a Saturday because they changed to the Sundays, didn't they?
Yeah, they're on Saturdays now, yeah. But I still didn't stay up for it. I don't know. I don't think I would have survived it.
R980's response, I think that's Ronan, and thanks very much for commenting on the YouTube videos. I think it further showed that that storyline-wise, AEW is a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fucking dead right, Ron. Dead right.
Bypass himself. He said the show struggled to get past third gear. Very appropriate thing for...
Very good. Well, it definitely was not a full gear show.
Yeah.
Like, it was a half gear show at best.
Quarter gear.
No, like, again, not a bad match, but it just felt kind of undercooked. Just didn't have a lot of the big moments that you expect from AEW pay-per-views, and I think the nature of the predictability, some of the storylines just meant it was very hard to get too invested. 5
Marks podcast, that even if he's the worst, I still prefer Tony Khan over that ES Twat. ES Tate, you might know him from OTT Insider. He is a twat.
ES Tate isn't booking anywhere though, is he?
I don't think so. He has a few rental properties on booking.com. Yeah. Victoria Walsh, ending was confusing, but it was a good show.
Yeah, it was confusing, but I did also like that it kind of laid the table for the next challengers, and I hope it's not all of them at once. It
was better than Crown Jewel, which is the latest WWE pay-per-view.
That's the thing. I mean, I think AEW have been much stronger this year overall on pay-per-view than WWE, but this just wasn't one of those shows,
I'd love to get back into AEW. I'd love for there to be a time where I'm just like, this is class, this is can't miss, but it's...
When was the last time you bought an AEW figure?
They don't sell them in Ireland anymore, except
they're gone.
They're gone out of Smiths.
Last time I saw them, they were on discount in Smiths. Yeah. Maybe this is a good sign.
No, they're gone from Smiths. They don't sell them in Smiths anymore. They're in Banaba Toys, the old toy master, and they're even reduced. I have a load of AEW figures because they were all
They're gonna be worth something someday.
They all started out with 20 quid, and then they were like being reduced to clear for like €3 to €5.
Jesus.
I actually bought John Moxley, a Luchasaurus, and a Wardlow for a combined 20 quid.
That's pretty good.
Off a second-hand seller, so they're already out of the box.
You'll get at least double that in 40 years' time.
Yeah, but they're out of the box.
Maybe not double.
1.5. Well, thanks very much for listening to the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And rate it if you're listening on any of the streaming ears platforms.
Podcast, Shane.
If you're listening there, comment. If you disagree, fucking say it. If you agree, say it. If you like what we've had to say it. And if you don't like what we had to say it. We have been the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show. Johnny the Beast, Mortos, and I've been Shane the Beefy Boy O'Keefe. Stay safe, stay sane. Good luck.